Good afternoon, guys, and welcome back to my Catherine Bogle author writing kind of channel. And today we're talking about how to query your novel. But before you even start querying, there are a few things that you're going to need. First of all, you're going to need a manuscript that is complete and polished, and one that you've probably slaved over in editing and revisions. Once you have your book, you need a synopsis and a query letter. So for your synopsis, usually they range from 1 page to 3 pages. Usually you kind of have a couple synopsises. I know I have a 1 page, a 2 page, a 3 page, and a really long one that's very thorough. So you're ready to query. Querying is a very tough love business, as is all of publishing pretty much. But you can get through it with a lot of perseverance and get people to review your work and just pretty much don't give up. I also want you to keep in mind that if this is your first book you're querying, it's your first book. A lot of people don't get an agent until their second or third or fourth or fifth, etc. Like, I know some authors who didn't get published until after their 9th book. Like, I know that seems like a lot of, time, and it seems like a lot of work, but it is a lot of work. And the more you write, the more you revise, the better you're gonna get and the sooner you're gonna get to publishing. So step 1 in querying your novel is write a query. I'm gonna eventually do a video specifically on making a query, or I might just do a blog post because it might be a little bit easier. But so you need to write a query of your novel. You need your introduction, you need your opening paragraph with your hook or your log line, you need another description paragraph, going over the plot, and then you need your kind of sign off author bio. So that's just like the general structure of a query. Step 2, revise, get feedback, talk to some other authors, some other writers, some industry professionals, maybe take it even to a professional editor. Get all the eyes on it that you physically can, and then sit on it, and then revise again. You will never go with your first query. At least I hope to God you will never go with your first query. Give you an idea of how many revisions your query will probably take. Think of how many drafts or how many revision rounds you probably did of your entire novel, and that's probably how many revisions of your query you will make before it is perfect. And it may never be perfect, but as close as it can get. Step 3, when your query letter is as best as it can physically be, it's time to do your research. And what are you researching? Agents. Remember, agents are people too, so be sure to do your research, find out if they're gonna fit with you, your needs, and what you want before you query them. There are a few really good websites for this. There is Query Tracker, there is Manuscript Wishlist, which is an amazing website by Jessica Sinsheimer. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing her name wrong, but Jessica Sinsheimer. She made a website called ManuscriptWishlist.com, and it is amazing. You can search for your genre, your age category, you can search by specific agent names. Frankly, it's amazing, so give it a go. Another big database is just agentquery.com. So I'll list all of those in the description box below for easy access. Step 4, once you have your list of agents, it's time to get organized, it's time to spreadsheet. If you're using Query Tracker, you may not really need to do this, but personally, I like keeping an actual spreadsheet of all the agents I've submitted to, all the small presses, etc. And I like to keep it in order of, agent's name, their website, agency, the agency's website, the date I submit to them, the date I can follow up, if I can follow up, and then the date I get a response. So you can do that in Excel or whatever program you use. Honestly, I just use Word and I make like a table and that's all I do. But you want to keep organized so you don't submit to agents more than once, because unless you've completely rewritten your manuscript and it's been probably over 6 months, most agents will not see your book again. They'll think you just resubmitted it by accident. Step 5, query. Remember, before you do, you have a lot of stuff to do. You have a lot of editing, some writing, you have a lot of researching, and before you submit, you need to make sure to check out that agent really thoroughly, follow their submission guidelines to a T, and that will help you have the best chance to get on their maybe list or to get a request for a partial or full. A few other things to make sure is don't do any dear agent nonsense when you're addressing these. Make sure you address them by their name. You can use Mrs. or Mr. if you'd like, but I think most agents prefer if you just do dear first and last name. Also, make sure whatever you're putting in the subject line is right. Usually it's query, colon, then the name of your book, and sometimes they want a little message, or sometimes they want query for agent name, or query for, or query attention agent name. That's why you have to check over the submission guidelines very carefully, because they'll tell you which it is. Also, be sure to use the right email address. Use the agency's query email and not the agent's personal email. Also, be sure to personalize where you can. You know, if you found this agent on Manuscript Wishlist and they have just this idea of this book that they want and it perfectly fits yours, write that in your query letter. Open with that, because that'll make them pay way more attention as they're going through your letter. Also, make sure you're including all the right info. Make sure they're open for submissions at that time, and just reread your query a couple times before you hit that send button. And there isn't really a step 6, but step 6 is play the waiting game, because the querying process is a long one, so buckle up. That is how to query your novel. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them in the description box below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe before you leave. And Haven is still available in hardcover, paperback, and ebook on Amazon, Freezing Press, and all those other fun places, so be sure to check it out in the comments. And if you want to give it a try for free, the first 3 chapters are free on my website. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Kat, and I'll see you next week.